This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
How does an 18-year-old from a small town in Tennessee who went to a high school with 300 students go to Indiana University and the Big Ten to play basketball for one of the greatest basketball coaches in the history of the game, Coach Bob Knight? It's still hard to imagine how I managed to travel down that road, and when I started, there was no way I realized that my decision to be a Hoosier and play for Coach Knight would positively impact my life to such a degree. I also had no way of knowing that my first 3 seasons at Indiana would be the last 3 seasons that Knight would coach there. My mom, Patty Kirk Haston, gave me a great gift and a terrific piece of advice when I left for Bloomington for the first time in the summer of 1997. She gave me a journal and told me, "You'll be glad someday that you wrote some things down about playing for Coach Knight." This suggestion was similar to most of the advice I received from my mom. It was absolutely correct. During my years of playing for Coach Knight, I wrote down pages and pages of stories, quotes, comments, and conversations that I was fortunate enough to experience as an Indiana Hoosier. Almost every day during the season, I wrote notes in my journal and also in my red notebook, a notebook that Coach Knight gave to each player and required us to have at every team meeting. From those pages of notes and from the unforgettable Hoosier memories came my story in this book. The chapters follow along a timeline that took me from a high school in Lobelville, Tennessee, to Indiana University and a campus of over 35,000 students. Sprinkled throughout the book are standalone tales that provide a story time out of sorts from the chronological action in the chapters, stories that are mostly about my experiences with Coach Knight on and off the court. The opportunity Coach Knight gave me to play basketball at Indiana allowed me to be privy to a wide range of highs and lows in both Hoosier and college basketball history. I was on the team beginning with the 1997-98 season and through the 2000-2001 season, and over those years I learned invaluable lessons about commitment, work ethic, and competition from a coaching legend. I also experienced what it was like to see that coach, the coach that my teammates and I came to play for, fired, and thus to witness the end of an era at Indiana, an era unmatched in terms of success both on and off the court. I've written this book for several reasons. I want to share what it was like to be recruited by Coach Knight, as well as what it was like to practice and play for him. I want to share how the positive far outweighs the negative when it comes to Coach Knight, in contrast to many opinions that prevail in the media even today. I want to share how a chubby middle school kid made it to the NBA because a few great people believed in him and showed him how to work. I want to share what it was like to be in the middle of the chaos that was Coach Knight's firing and Coach Mike Davis's hiring. And last but definitely not least, I want to share a lot of Coach Knight stories. From the very first year I began playing for Coach Knight until now, people from all walks of life have asked me the same question. Do you have any Coach Knight stories? Well, thanks to the advice and the journal Mom gave me before I became a Hoosier, I do. Nightlines. If you can't be ready to play every time you put on a jersey with Indiana on it, then you can't play here. Coach Knight, sophomore year, December 1st, 1998.